Hello and welcome to this presentation of some of the new features in Mudbox 2012. My name is Jonas Törnqvist and I'm a character artist and modeler. I'm working for companies such as Framestore, Lionhead, Electronic Arts, and I'm currently working at Better Digital. So this is the model that we're going to be using for this presentation. It's still very much work in progress. There are some textures painted for it also. Even more work in progress, but it gives you an idea of what it's going to be looking like when it's finished. The model is about 2.5 million polygons at the moment, which I think is enough detail for this guy. We have 4 UV tiles for the entire character. So let's have a look at how I created these textures. So let's start with having a look at one of my favorite new features in Mudbox 2012 when it comes to projecting stencils on top of your model. So as you can see here, the reference texture that I have doesn't really match up very well with my model. Just line it up as good as possible, but you can see it's still way too thin. What you can do then is you can go in under Edit, Add Stencil. It makes it possible for you to actually go in and just pull things around and move the stencil with the modeling tools in Mudbox, and just line it up with your model. And this is extremely useful, especially when you have characters that are not based on reality, so you don't have perfect texture reference you can match them up to. You can see here in some areas it gets a bit jagged, the edges. What you can do is you can actually go in and add new subdivision level, and it will subdivide this grid that the texture is projected on. Go display wireframe, you can see how you have distorted your texture. Turn it off. So you can subdivide it as many times as you want to get enough detail. I think this should be probably enough for us. Just do a very quick job here of just matching it up. I'm mostly interested in the arm here, so I don't care about these bits. When you're done, Mudbox will actually create a copy of your stencil. You can just go and project as normal. I like to do that on a new layer here, so we're just going to add a new layer. Now you just project as normal. Another nice new feature here is under each of these paintbrushes there's in the fall off section. You can say fall off based on facing angle. I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to do this again with the facing angle value on. Turn this off, and I'm going to turn off the underlying layer. So you can see that as the face of the model turns away from the camera, you get a hard cutoff there at 60 degrees. Obviously you can change that fall off value to anything. 60 is the default one, is a pretty good one. So now as you can see, we have a lot more texture detail here than we had before. And when you prick something like this, you obviously end up with a lot of artifacts and seams in some areas. One way to get rid of them is just use the erase tool, obviously, but a new feature in Mudbox 2012 is this create layer mask. So just with the layer selected, we just click this one and you create a mask layer, and then you just pick the normal paintbrush, and we have a white color selected, but if I hold down Control, it will invert that value, so we'll be painting with a black color. So now I can just go in and get rid of some of these seams and artifacts that are present in this projection. Make this new layer blend in better with the layer below. The good thing with this is that you can obviously just paint white again, and you can get that information back once it's been removed. It's a non-destructive way of editing your texture maps, which is very useful. Another tool that's been improved greatly with this new release of Mudbox is the clone tool. It's become one of my favorite new tools. It's a lot faster than in the previous versions of Mudbox. It's great. It's a great tool for just cleaning up your texture and adding detail in some areas, and getting rid of unwanted blemishes and stuff like that. Another very good thing with this clone tools in Mudbox is that you can tint the color that you're cloning. So if, for example, I'm gonna try and copy some detail from the stomach here to the side of his body, we can see the texture is a bit darker. So I'm just gonna pick a slightly brown yellowish color here. Now I'm gonna paint from this clone from this brighter area to this slightly darker area. As you can see, it you can get it to match up a little better. Get a little bit more red maybe. You can see you're still projecting all these details from the brighter area. You're tinting it with the color you're choosing to get it to sort of fit better in that area you're painting. Another tool that's been greatly improved is the blur tool. Also a lot faster. Can be quite useful in some areas to just blur your textures a bit too sharp, or just to blend two areas together. Another nice feature is the new layer blending modes. So if I create a new layer, I'm just gonna go and project texture on here. Take this one here, for example. So you can just go and project something on top of here. Now if you go in here and look closely, we can see we can change the different layer blending modes. So if you take line and burn, for example, you get one look. Probably makes it look a little bit more like a tattoo. Another nice thing is under the layer you can go to adjust color, and here you can change things such as the brightness. You can change the saturation, so you can very quickly just change the overall look of the layer. Hue also, so you can change different hue, and you also have the curves. You can control individual channels also, which is very useful. That looks like a tattoo. The blur tool is also very useful. You can very quickly go and sort of blend the edges more into the skin if you like. Get more of a tattoo look. Mudbox now also supports PTEX, which means for these pants here, for example, you can see here, and the UVs I have is not very good, so I wouldn't be able to paint on these. But what I can do is I can go into Mesh, PTEX setup, and I can just tell them to set up PTEX for these pants. And what that means now is I can just get an stencil here, for example, line it up a little bit, and see if we want to paint in some holes here in these pants. Let's do that. You can just tell the new texture that we're going to use the PTEX for this, and we just choose opacity for channel. And I can just go in and paint opacity, which is also a new feature. We're also using this model that doesn't even have UV set up on it. I hope you found this presentation interesting, and I hope you give Mudbox 2012 a try. It's a great piece of software for creating textures for your models, and I can really recommend it.